Even the little child, in tossing a ball, moves the universe simultaneously with that tossing. All motion is simultaneous, universal, in this universe of equilibrium. Sequence is an appearance due to form. It has no existence in itself, and without form it would not have even the appearance of existence. All form is purely a question of gravitational intensity, and therefore has no existence. Time itself is an effect of gravitation and has no existence. Like heat, it is but an indicator which registers sequence in integration as heat registers resistance to integration. The reproductions and effects of motion and their attendant unrealities do not in any way change the universal substance of mind, the one reality, the one unchanging, indivisible, ultimate substance of all that is. Add to the non-existent appearances, form, space, and time, two others which obsess man's mind, position, and dimension, and the relator can readily perceive that, with these non-existent unrealities firmly fixed in his mind as existent realities, it would be impossible for man to accept the idea of a finite universe. To do so, he would have to imagine a form hanging like a ball in a void, to which there must be an empty, inconceivable beyond. Man's outer mind is so accustomed to thinking reality into the unrealities of space, time, motion, form, position, and dimension of an objective universe, that it is hard for him to adjust his thinking to a subjective universe in which the unrealities disappear into the reality of light. Man's inner mind thinks in light, freed of its thinking from the illusions of outer mind thinking. Einstein's error is in attaching to the substance of mind the attributes which belong solely to dimension of the substance in its appearance as form. Next chapter, a dimensionless universe. Dimension is but an appearance, an effect of motion, and is non-existent. A mile between apparent objects is non-existence, with the disappearance of the objects. Man's fixed concepts of a universe of innumerable objects, separated by relative and measurable distances, unfits him for thinking of the universe in any but a relative sense. Man must think in light for true comprehension of mind. All men may think in the higher octaves of light when they but comprehend, for with comprehension comes power. To think in light is not a new power being evolved by man like a new sense. It is a power which is already in every atom of man's composition. Man thinks in the low octaves of his own integration, almost unaware that the higher octaves are within him, for the lower octaves are superimposed upon the higher. The higher octaves of incredibly higher speeds are within the lower octaves of high potential but slow speed. Man may shift his thinking from the low speed of his outer mind to the higher speeds of his inner mind at will, even as he can shift the gears of his motor car. Man's thinking in his low octaves of bodily integration is like a man running his motor on low gear, ignorant of the fact that he has higher gears. Man's thinking in the higher octaves is like a man who is aware of higher gears in his car and knowingly uses them. Universal mind thinks in light and registers that thinking in light, which is integrated into the idea of the thinking, and suspended for a time in the lower octaves of light in the appearance of form. Man's outer mind is an integration of light in the lower octaves of that which he calls matter. and man's outer mind thinks in the dimensions or illusions of mind or matter. Matter and mind and light and energy are the same, they are one. They are existent in that they never disappear. They are constant, they are eternal. Dimension of mind, or light, or matter, or energy, is but the illusion of the mind substance due solely to more or less sustained motion. The substance, which is mind, or light, or matter, or energy, and is eternally existent as cause, must not be confused with its effects in motion, which are but dimensions and therefore non-existent. Dimension is purely objective. Outer mind thinking is objective thinking. Objective thinking is thinking in dimension. The substance of matter is eternal, but its illusions of dimension in form are fleeting. Matter is frozen light, crystallized light of man's own lower octaves of thinking. So, even in outer mind thinking, man thinks in light, but it is meaningless to him. Man's inner mind is light of the high octaves of inspirational, ecstatic thinking. To man's inner vision, light is always light. It never disappears. Inner mind thinking is subjective thinking. Subjective thinking is dimensionless thinking. The inner mind of man knows no darkness. Light knows light, and all that is light. In the high speeds of inner thinking, matter is dimensionless. The universe of mind is a dimensionless universe. The universe of the ideal of mind is a universe of dimension. The creating universe is the ideal of mind. It is the divine concept of a universe of motion, and the apparent separability of the one thing into the appearance of many individual things. Next chapter, concerning dimension. The divine concept of a universe of form is the ideal of the image-making faculty of mind. The divine concept is but an illusion of divine imagination. Mind thinks the ideas of mind into an illusion or form. Dimension appears when form appears. Form appears as a result of motion generated by the concentrated impulse of thinking. Form disappears as a result of motion radiated by the deconcentrative, alternate reactive impulse of thinking. Creation, therefore, is but an illusion due to complex states of motion. All motion is comprehensible. All motion is caused by thinking mind. All motion is controllable by mind. All comprehension motion is measurable. Measures are dimensions. Dimensions are the intervals which define the relation of one illusion of form to another. Dimension disappears with the disappearance of the illusions it defines. All illusions of form are but varying states of motion locked into the separate states of potential which define those illusions. All states of motion are orderly and periodic. All states of motion, no matter how complex, are reducible to 10 octaves of 7 tones each, plus their midtones and their master tones. All creation is reducible to about 140 elements which tell the entire complex story of God's thinking, just as all literature is reducible to 26 letters which tell the entire complex story of all of men's thinking. Neither have any existence beyond their ability of expressing in form the manifesting ideal of creative mind.